Hi there and welcome to Capital View. The opposition space is suddenly looking exciting, and joining me on this episode is a leading light of the opposition, the newly appointed General Secretary of the CPM, Sitaram Yechury. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Would it be right to say that in India today, the left is going in for a more inclusive politics?
Well, it always, we thought it was always inclusive, but of course we would be going in for policies in which, on major issues which confront the nation, either the effect of these economic policies on the vast mass of people, or on the horrendous communal campaign that is going on in the country. On these issues, yes, we would want all others who value our country's people's livelihood and the country's constitutional secular democratic foundations to come and join us in these protests and struggles all over.
So you are perceived as a little less doctrinaire, a little less hardline than Mr. Prakash Karat. Is that right?
No, I mean, in the sense what the party decides is what any one of us will have to implement. But how will we go about implementing that? That is, I mean, based on the fact that we would want to unite the largest sections of the people in the achievement of what we think should be done in the interest of the country and the people.
So does that mean a broad front, for example, against the BJP with the Congress?
No, in the sense there's not going to be any front or alliance. Let's say on specific issues. For instance, now on this land bill, I mean, all of us are united in Parliament in opposing this. You'll have the issues of the goods and services tax. You'll have the issues on the changes in the labor laws. You have now the issues of on which the transport workers are on strike today, on a successful strike, on the question of privatization of your state-owned transport services. So on these specific issues, and in that strike, mind you, even the BMS affiliated to the BJP, I mean, they're also participants in the strike. So on such issues, we will seek to unite everybody who's willing to come.
So you'll reach out to the Congress on specific issues?
On the Congress, on all others, I mean, including those who are not with any political party. We would want to reach out to all of them to come and join us on these issues, which we think are in the interest of the people and the country.
So let me just draw you to a specific, elections are due in Bihar. So are we going to see a broad coalition there of Lalu, Nitish, left, Congress? Are you willing to be part of that kind of coalition?
The problem is, please understand, that the Congress, and because of its policies, is instrumental in actually bringing this BJP government into office. So opposition to Congress policies has always been our mainstay, and it has been our mainstay not because of any other reason except that they are not in the interest of the country and the people. That will continue. That will have to continue. So the question, when elections come, we'll see what sort of alliances or what sort of electoral adjustments are necessary. But there are not going to be any alliances or fronts with anybody.
But you're not ruling it out. You're not ruling out an alliance with the Congress in Bihar.
That we'll see when elections come. But our main emphasis is actually on strengthening ourselves and strengthening our intervention capacity.
No, but earlier the stand was equidistant. I mean, Mr. Karat always maintained that he was equidistant from the Congress and equidistant from the BJP. But is that changing now? Is the BJP your enemy number one?
No, BJP is
enemy number one.
I mean, I wouldn't call it enemy. In politics, we call our political adversaries. And of course, I mean, we think what they're doing is entirely destroying the fundamental basis of our country and the interests of the people. You see, this Modi government combines today both these aspects of these economic policies that are imposing greater burdens on the vast mass of the people and the communal agenda. And both these will be opposed by us. And all those who are willing to oppose us, we would appeal to them to come and join us in this struggle.
So this is the main enemy that you have at the moment. The BJP is your main enemy.
I won't say main and non-main in the sense that will be, you see, the main enemies before the country and the people are these two aspects, economic policies as well as this communal polarization, campaigns for communal polarization, both. And the Modi government represents both together.
How does the left intend to combat Narendra Modi?
First of all, please remember, it's less than a year since Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister. And haven't had an anti-incumbency setting in less than a year that I remember, at least in the last 4 decades, so fast as it's now setting in. Your Delhi elections were a pointer to that. And in every subsequent election from the Lok Sabha, the BJP's vote share has been declining. Now, keeping that in mind that he has reinvented himself, maybe, but the point is, the appeal to the people eventually lies in what they receive from this government. There's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of illusions that were spread, but in reality, the opposite is happening.
Look at what has happened in Bengal. You have been reduced in the municipal polls to a distant second by Mamata Banerjee in the Trinamool Congress. What is the way forward for you in Bengal?
See, the Bengal, these results itself are the pointer to the way forward. From the third position, we came up to the second position. For the first time since 2009 Parliament elections, the voting percentage of the left front in Bengal has not declined in this election. 2009 Parliament elections, 2010 municipal elections, 2011 Assembly elections, 2012-13 your local body elections, panchayats, etc. Everywhere you find a decline in the vote percentage. What did we say? Arrest this decline and then reverse. The arresting process has begun. The reversing won't be far behind.
In times of nationalism and in times of religiosity, when there is aspirational India and aspirational youth, what new message does the left have to find? Is class war enough anymore? Don't you have to find a new message? Don't you have to reach the young? Which you're failing to do, let's face it.
No, in the sense, you see, our USP, let's say, to the youth of our country is that we are the only ones who have an alternative framework of policies that will allow the Indian youth to be an active participant in the creation of a better India. Why I say that today? You see, youth being a predominantly large section of our population, they have got aspirations, they want to contribute to nation building, but that is not being, that's not materializing.
But is the left speaking their language?
Of course, you'll increasingly find us speaking that language. If there's anyone who is really championing what we loosely call, what is called the idea of India, it is the left. Right. If there's anybody that synchronizes the various diversities in the country, not only in theory but in practice, it is the left.
And the argument is that at the end of the day, it's market-oriented growth that can lift millions out of poverty. Now, the problem with the left is that it hasn't been able to offer a concrete alternative.
Why?
To this economic model.
On the contrary, I just give me a minute. I'll just tell you what is our alternative to what is currently being advanced and aggressively advanced by this Modi government. What was done by Dr. Manmohan Singh is that you attract foreign investment. The larger the foreign investment that comes to India, the better for our growth and job opportunities. What the left says is that this argument has a very serious flaw. That investment per se does not lead you to growth and greater employment unless what is produced by the investment is bought or sold in the market. You cannot sell abroad because of the global economic crisis. Your exports have fallen by 26% in the last 1 year. Now, in that light, you have to expand your domestic market. How can you do that? The only way is, instead of giving all these tax concessions to the rich, giving all these concessions to the foreign investment whom you are trying to attract, instead of that, your legitimate taxes you collect. We are not saying increase your tax levels. No. What is due, you collect. Invest in your, whatever public investments to build your much needed infrastructure, and that is the process through which you create new jobs, create new demand.
The domestic market, galvanize domestic investment.
Exactly, and what India needs, as I've said, and I continue to repeat till I hope that the import of that is understood, that what India needs is a sort of a new deal. Massive doses of public investment to build your much needed infrastructure, create the jobs. When our youth are employed, when they have the money in their hands, when they spend that, That is the domestic demand's growth, which will sustain.
Ideologically, there are some changes you need to make, right? Don't you need to make certain ideological changes, certain ideological concessions to the time?
No, but what you would construe as ideological changes, I won't say they are really ideological changes, but yes, as you see, a Marxist, as we have always believed we are, for the lifeline of Marxism, the backbone, is the concrete analysis of concrete conditions. As the conditions change, if our analysis doesn't change, I don't believe we are Marxists. So it will have to change as the conditions keep changing, and conditions keep on changing. That's the law of life.
No, many are saying that Arvind Kejriwal is the new left, that the Aam Aadmi Party is the new left. Do you feel that other parties are taking away your message?
You see, they may be taking up the issues that we have always championed, which is true. The Aam Aadmi Party has. They may be taking up the methodology that we have employed in reaching to the people. That's also true. But in the final analysis, today the two fundamental issues that face the Indian Republic and the Indian people, that is these economic reforms, the impact of these economic reforms, and this communalization that is destroying our country's unity and integrity. On these two fundamental issues, unfortunately, the AAP is not yet clear.
Let's take a short break at this point. Lots more with Sitaram Yechury on the other side. Welcome back to Capital View. We're talking to the newly appointed General Secretary of the CPIM, Sitaram Yechury, and as it happens, we're talking to him on Labour Day. We were talking about the challenge that the left faces. Again, if I can just draw you to the coalitions that the left can possibly strike. What about Rahul Gandhi? Now, I know that you have good relations with Sonia Gandhi. How do you assess Rahul Gandhi's new energy, that he's taking on all these issues, that he's out there with the farmers? Do you think Rahul Gandhi can be someone who creates that unity among opposition parties, who creates a coalition?
You see, first of all, I think it should be repeated, and I'll only beseech you to understand that as far as the left is concerned, we never define our attitude or policies on the basis of individuals. It's always on the basis of policies they pursue.
How do you see the opposition space playing out? Because, as you yourself mentioned earlier, you're up against a very formidable force. You're up against a force that has a lot of social media at its disposal, that knows the new technology, that knows how to reach out to people. Now, you may be a late starter there on Twitter and Facebook. So, how do you see the opposition space playing out, and what kind of prospect is there for opposition unity?
You see, first of all, understand the fundamentals also. Yes, Mr. Modi and the BJP got a victory in the sense that for the first time after 3 decades, you have a majority government in the country on the basis of their seats in Lok Sabha. But remember, that was achieved on the basis of a 31% vote share of those who voted. That is 69% of those who voted against them. So that base is there. And that is precisely the reflection that you find today. Why is that euphoria and the illusion building that was there during the elections, which is not really working like the way it did then?
Many would say that he's received an enthusiastic support when he went to Yemen and the Nepal rescue effort. Many are saying that once again Mr. Modi has become the superhero.
You see, if maybe that's the reason why they want the NRIs to vote. No, but eventually it's the people of India who will decide, no? And that sort of a support is more available outside than here.
So you don't think foreign policy successes have any role to play in India?
No, let us see what is the success. Let us evaluate the success. The only thing you see right now is the huge amount that you have spent on buying the French planes. What is the foreign policy success? Have you got an extra nuclear reactor adding even a single megawatt to the energy needs of our people? Showing the left and left protesting doesn't increase the TRPs of anybody, no? Or it's not news. I mean, it's like a dog biting a man is never news.
Right.
Man biting the dog will be.
So you feel the media consciously
also,
discriminates against the left?
Also, I wouldn't blame the media, entirely. I don't, but I only appeal to the media to be more objective.
Religion today is again religiosity, mass religiosity. This is a reality. how will the left doctrinally come to terms with this mass religiosity?
Please understand, the left, at least as far as we are concerned, the communists, we are not anti-religion. We are anti the conditions that makes people more dependent on religion. That when people are so desperate to see religion and religiosity as the only panacea.
But isn't religion the opiate of the masses?
No, if you look at the whole sentence, he said religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature. Religion is the heart of the heartless world, is the spirit of the spiritless situation. Religion is the opium of the masses. In the sense, it's so powerful that it gives you an illusion of hope, comfort, a spirit in a spiritless situation. That is the solace that religion gives and comfort, which the real world does not. A Marxist says change the real world.
Right. Not deny religion.
No, that is not a issue, is the social conditions.
But I come down to it. Are you still stuck in a language of grievance, in a language of feel bad, whereas the youth and increasingly people want to speak about aspiration and feel good? Are you still stuck in that grievance-oriented language?
No. Ours is the language now of defiance. Ours is the language of extracting our legitimate right. We want to contribute to the building of our country. You are denying us the right to do that. And therefore, we are saying that we will exercise the right. The left's role is to exercise, and along with us, the people of our country.
But what's going wrong with you electorally?
Electorally, there are various factors that you have to. Electoral alliances or your adjustments, etc., we have found in terms of our experience. The more that we have got ourselves tied with various regional parties, it has done us more damage than good. We've helped those parties to gain rather than the left advancing. So the basic emphasis, therefore, is to strengthen the left-led movements and the left intervention in people's issues. Secondly, please remember, there is a very, very complex Indian reality, particularly in large tracts of our country, where you find the left is the unchallenged receiver of supporter of the people on issues of economic oppression, exploitation, etc. When it comes to the question of wages, when it comes to the question of rights of the working people, it's always the Lal Jhanda, the left. That is the first choice. I mean, the people have the confidence that we are the ones who will fight for their rights. That sort of a confidence in the red flag, in the left, we have not yet achieved on issues of social oppression. That is caste, religious minorities, gender, tribal. On these issues, we have not yet achieved that degree of confidence amongst the people. So as what happens, for struggles, they are willing to come with us. They'll face the police, they'll get arrested. But when it comes to voting, it's the social grouping that tends to dominate. We have to break this apparent dichotomy. We are working towards it.
Because your message is anti-caste and your message is anti-religious community, but people are voting according
to the social program. So we'll have to evoke the people's confidence as much as we evoke on economic issues.
So, you know, many believe that this is India's first truly right-wing government, and it has the support of the middle class, it has the support of industry, it wants to make India better for business. And many are saying that this is what we need. India needs to be made safe for business. The ease of doing business has to get better. Why are you so worried about the role of the corporates and all of that?
I'm not worried, but I mean, I just cannot escape from drawing the historical parallels that keep reminding you. Remember, when the rise of Hitler was to a large extent financed by the world's biggest corporates. They saw fascism as the answer to the economic crisis gripping the world. Today, since 2008 financial meltdown, the world's capitalist crisis is just not being able to overcome. What is the way out? Hitler's militarization was the biggest economic stimulus package, any economist will tell you, that anybody could offer. So it was a right-wing fascist government that was the answer to the woes of big corporates.
So you believe Modi is like Hitler?
Well, I wouldn't draw that sort of a comparison, but the methods, you see, easing business in the country, making available our mineral resources, making available all our resources, not.
But what's wrong with that?
No, not for, and this is what is wrong. Not for adding value addition in the country, which will benefit our people through employment and growth of our economy, but for exploitation by these corporates for their, let's say, value addition in whichever form they would want, and not for us. So that is what is wrong with it.
But how can you say that? I mean, if industry grows and if ease of doing business grows, then surely everybody benefits.
Again, the fault lies in your statement. If industry grows, will industry grow? Why is the only Make in India factory you had of that of Nokia in Tamil Nadu wound up and left the country shores? Will industry grow, or will the world's capital utilize our resources for its profit maximization in the wake of a global crisis, which is what appears to be the fact?
But, you know, I want to just ask you a related question. Don't you think this America as enemy and the struggle against American imperialism, is that also perhaps a shift that you need to make in your attitudes? Because, you know, millions of young Indians are now looking to America.
I wish that America stops stops doing what it's doing and allows such a shift in the world. Look at what's happening in the whole of the Middle East. Look at the entire military arena of America that is widened. Look at, these are not.
But millions of Indians want to go and live in America. Millions of Indians want to live the American dream.
That is because you're not giving them opportunity here. And that is precisely my point. The youth of our country are yearning to contribute to the building of a better India. When you don't give them that opportunity, why blame them?
Right. Today is May Day, Labor Day.
Historically, the triumph of labor is inevitable. The pace at which we'll achieve this, it depends on how organized we are. This May Day, the message is that organize in a stronger way through mightier movements to achieve that historical objective.
So how will you do this? How will Sitaram Yechury, as the newly appointed General Secretary, what is your recipe for revitalizing the left?
Chalo, in these days of slogans, all I can say is our slogan has always been a red flag must be flying on the factory gate, in every factory gate in our country. Now our slogan would be, along with the red flag on the factory gate, a red flag should fly on every well in every village where the Dalit is prevented from drinking water. And it's only by the merger of these two aspects that you'll find us advance, and you'll see a remarkable leap in our electoral fortunes.
You will see?
Yes, on the basis of this merger.
That a flag will fly on the factory gate and on a well where the Dalit can't drink water. Right. What about the middle class?
For example, middle class, the aspirational middle class is the backbone, in the sense, also a part of the backbone, the various vertebrae that make the backbone. Right. Working class, the peasantry, agricultural labor, of course.
No, but are you hostile to the middle class?
Not at all. Not at all. What is your middle class today? The millions of people who are employed in your, let's say, your public institutions, insurance, your banks, your teachers, you know, this is what constitutes your large section of the middle class. Even today, the private sector employing your middle class is still a smaller percentage than all these sectors put together. And they are the ones who are getting the brunt of these reforms. The privatization of your pension funds, the entire, you know, ESI, gratuity, all the things that they used to get earlier. I mean, all that being cut. It is that class that is actually bearing the brunt of these attacks. So that is the natural, support base of the left.
How is the CPIM led by Sitaram Yechury going to be different from the CPIM led by Prakash Karat?
Only time will tell, and you will report how it will be different.
Sitaram Yechury, thank you so much for joining me on Capital View. That's it on Capital View. Lots more next week. Do join us.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.